Oi!
All right, we're live.
What a man. Is that okay that I invited them to come to the Warrior?
It's more than fine.
You
Actually,
seem very angry
I
about
already
it.
had, so it's okay.
You seem very angry about it. Is that okay that I invited them to come to the Warrior?
Oh, we don't hear that. All right, we are now live on YouTube. I better actually act like we know what we're doing. All right, let's get ready to rumble. All right, YouTube listeners, just deal with it. 3, 2, 1. G'day and welcome back to another episode of the Wing It podcast. I was going to say episode number, but we don't have episode numbers. Stop doing that. Anyway, he keeps miming me. It's a pain in the ass. We're not doing episode numbers. Anyway, let's get straight into the week that was last week and preview this week coming up too. And
Very exciting week coming up this week, may I add.
a huge week. I mean, we thought a couple of weeks ago with the whatever it was top 8
played each
game.
other.
This week looks just as exciting, really.
Well, this week, a couple of 8-point games.
Huge 8-point games.
And a lot. This is a big week for tipping.
Yeah,
I'm either going to lose all tipping competitions this week
make or break, hey?
or win them all.
Oh, the Sydney Freo game, level odds.
Yeah.
That's the
Or the
definition.
Saints Freo game as well.
Did I say Saints Freo?
That's up there.
That's what I said.
Yeah, Sydney Freo. You
Oh,
said.
sorry, Saints
And
Freo, that's what I
The
meant to say.
Sydney Doggies game as well. That's pretty big.
That's it, yeah.
Obviously, the game tonight as well. We've got the Demons taking on the Cats
Top
down in Geelong.
We'll talk about that soon.
And I'm going to call it here as well. Whoever wins that game will win the minor premiership.
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
Yeah, it's pretty. Anyway. Now, speaking about someone who won't be winning the minor premiership, and that is the Blues. Blues crumble against the struggling Saints. I called it last week that the Saints would upset the Blues. They did. What does this mean? What does this mean, this game? Does this game say more about the Saints or more about the Blues not being premiership material?
I think it says more about the Saints. It was sort of like wrong place, wrong time for the Blues, I feel. Obviously, they're undemanded. They've probably been overperforming for the team that they have right now.
For a majority of the year.
Yeah, with no key backstops whatsoever. They are coming back hopefully this week, which would be great to see.
You'd hope so.
But the Saints have just been getting crushed the last couple of weeks. They got bullied by Sydney, and they even lost to Essendon, who have been right at the bottom of the pack at the moment and been one of the worst teams in the competition. But the Saints had to bounce back, and that's what they did against Carlton. They made a huge statement against them, and they really came out swinging, especially in that first quarter. Got up a few goals early, and really were able to control the rest of the game.
I guess it shows with the Saints. They probably are the biggest hot or cold / wildcard team, I'd say, in the AFL.
Yeah.
Their worst is Essendon worst. Their best is beating top 4 teams best.
Yeah.
You never know what Saints team you're going to get, and that's the most frustrating part if I was a Saints fan. Clearly, there's only about 33 of you around, but it would be absolutely horrible. Seriously, it would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's
now,
very hard to barrack for a team like that and tip a team like that as well. Very, very difficult.
thankfully, I did. But there is one major implication from that loss for the Blues, and that is the top 4 now could be out of reach. I mean, it's only one loss, but we've got only, half a dozen games left or so. It's as tight as anything from second onwards. It's so tight. Can you put a line through them for top 4?
I can't put a line through them for top 4 because there's really no teams throwing their hat in the ring for the top 4 at the moment besides Geelong and the Demons. You've got Brisbane, who have sort of looked like a shell of themselves for a lot of the year, giving up huge points to bad teams such as Hawks and GWS. They've given over 100 points up to. And then you've got so many teams coming through, like even the Saints, to be honest, are a chance.
Who knows?
The Flag Pies. The Flag
100%.
Pies could seriously make top 4.
On soon, but yes.
And also Richmond as well, I feel like can make top 4 with the run they've got coming up.
I think so too.
Only leave Melbourne twice for the next
and we'll touch on this soon.
7 weeks,
Talk
so
about
we
the Tigers.
will. And another team we will touch on that I don't think are making top 4 is
Sydney.
the Sydney Swans.
The back markers are coming, aren't they? But maybe not the Swans. That might be a different thing. You said at the start of the year they weren't going to make finals. You doubled down a few weeks back when they were sitting in 5th, dare I
They were
say.
5th.
About a month ago, dare I say?
One win out of 2nd place, I believe.
And you backed them to fall out of finals.
Fall out of finals. Put a $200 bet on with Wayne Wardale.
Oh, Wayno again. Fan of the podcast.
Big
Clearly.
fan of the podcast, allegedly. But I put a bet on with him at the start of the year, and I'm sticking true to it. He wanted to double down on it, but I saw no point in doing such. They're paying about $4 right now to drop out of the finals, which is just ludicrous.
I think they will.
Considering they're sitting 8th right now, it's pretty amazing. And they've got a pretty hard run home, and they've got 4 or 5 home games still to go for the rest of the year. But as I hinted on before, home game for Sydney hasn't really been that successful in the last few years.
No, it's not an automatic win at all.
No, it's not. They've actually been worse at the SCG than they have at a lot of grounds.
Which is crazy.
It's really alarming for them. And I don't know how they're going to overcome that in the next couple of years. But this week is going to tell it all, I reckon, against the Doggies at the SCG, where they have, as I said before, struggled. And a ground where it really favours the Doggies in a lot of ways.
It does.
Because they're such a fast-paced team. It's a shorter ground, contested pill. It's going to be massive. So they're going to need to step up. I just don't think they can make finals.
Well, it's a do-or-die match for both teams, isn't it, that one? You're going to get the best Doggies possible, and Sydney have to come in thinking this is do-or-die. Yep. Just because you're not outside the 8 currently, you can't be going in too casual. That might be their undoing. But one thing we do like about the Swans is, I mean, they've apart from take out this year out of the equation, they've got kids flowing. They've always got kids flowing. I don't know where. They never have high draft picks, but they've always got kids coming through.
It's the academy.
It is.
Overpowered.
It is the academy. That's exactly what it is. You wrote this down in the notes, and I found it a really interesting point. How far up the ladder do you think they would be right now if they had both George Hewitt and Dawson in the team?
I honestly think they are the missing links for this team.
I think they are too.
Like the player like Dawson is, where he's just a Swiss Army knife and can go anywhere you need him to, which is exactly what they need this season. They'll need an extra tall up forward every now and then, or they need an extra tall down back, or they'll need someone in the guts. They've needed that all year.
Yep.
And that's exactly what they don't have anymore with Jordan Dawson, who they let go to the Crows. And George Hewitt, who wasn't wanted anymore at Sydney, would be...
For no reason
at all. Would be one of the most valuable players for Sydney this season. And both of those players, I'd say, are the 2 best pickups of the year.
Yeah, I think they would be 1 and 2 quite easily.
Yeah, so it's pretty woeful from Sydney in the off season. Very unbloods-like thing to do.
Yes.
With that bloods culture, a lot of players want to stay and want to be a part of it. But those 2 players wanted to leave, and for one reason or another, they ended up doing that, and it's really cost them big time. And that's why I said at the start of the year, I think they overperformed last year with those players in their team. And obviously that blend of sort of talent with the older top-end talent and the youth was fantastic last year, and I think caught everyone by surprise.
It
really.
did, 100% it did.
And it was their surprise factor. But then this year, I sort of knew they'd drop off. Whether they're going to fall out of finals or not, it's been a bit of a lull of a year. But as you hinted on before, I think it's a really bright future for them.
100%. Now let's move from one team that lost to some star recruits to a team that's had some star recruits, and that is Collingwood. Our Flag Pies, our Wing It podcast, Collingwood Pies. They're making finals. We said this before the season started.
Dare I say, we said top 4. Dare I say,
we definitely said they're pushing in top 4, top 6. Like no, that was a lock.
Yeah,
they're making top. I think they're going to finish 5th.
Yeah,
I reckon they're around that 5th or 6th echelon. But they're, like we just said about Sydney, their demise might be their losing of certain players. Collingwood have had a certain amount of recruits and draftees and personnel changes that are paying absolute dividends within no time.
Which was one of the reasons we love them so much.
100%. Fresh new team with old heads around them. It was a beautiful combination. A bit like Hawthorn 2008.
Yep.
It was a perfect combination. That's why we loved it. Their key factors. We talk about Fly, McRae, but killing it.
Yeah,
killing it.
Fantastic.
100%.
Fantastic in the media, may I say.
Everything about him, I love.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, he's doing nothing wrong at all. He's playing an attacking brand of football. He talks well. He looks like he cares about the club, the culture.
And they're beating some of the best teams in the competition. Like, they absolutely shut down the Demons completely and kicked one of the biggest scores that we've
30 plus was in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. And then, obviously, they beat Freo as well. And right now, they're on a 6-game win streak.
Yeah.
And the next 4 games include Adelaide and North Melbourne.
They're looking at top 4.
They are seriously looking at top 4. So
100%. And with Freo and 2 top 4 teams playing each other tonight, there is a gate opening.
Massive 100%. Gate opening. And all I can say is we're so proud of them. And
100%.
We're glad we jumped on them early.
Feels like it's one of our kids, doesn't it? 100%. We've adopted them and they're just growing. All right, now a team that I might jump on the bandwagon on very soon is Richmond.
Yeah,
they've been ninth man for a few weeks, and everyone's going, "Oh yeah, that old chestnut." They might be second man in the minute. Honestly, I think the way that they're going, they might be a top 4 side, and I know you agree.
Yeah, with what we were saying before, with how good their run is home, they've got one of the easiest runs going into the end of the year, and it seems like every year over the last sort of 5 years of this dynasty, if you want to call it that, they've just come home late, and they've had injuries all throughout the season. Everyone's written them off. And then out of nowhere, they've just got everyone back. They've all come back and really stepped up. So wouldn't be surprised to see them do it again. I think they have to start it with a massive win this week against Gold Coast. if they are to make top 4. And I really think that is not out of the realms of possibility whatsoever.
With an easy run home, it gets a lot easier. They leave, like Doggo noted before, they leave Melbourne twice for the rest of the year against 2 non-finals teams. 2 teams not even in the top 11, I don't believe, top 10. Port Adelaide and Gold Coast, respectively. They can win both those games. They've proven to beat Port Adelaide over many times, and I think they'll beat Gold Coast up in Metricon anyway. Then it's on the home deck or Marvel for the season on out.
Yep, and they've still got North Melbourne to face as well.
That is seriously scary for the rest of the competition because they are the last team you want to give any sort of breathing room in finals. I don't want Richmond 8th if I'm anyone else.
No.
I definitely don't want them 2nd or 3rd or 4th with a double chance at a home final.
Yeah.
That is the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario for the whole entire league. So watch out. Dusty, obviously, hamstring awareness last week. Sure, he's going to be fine. They're taking a cautious approach with him, so we'll see how we go. All right, before we get on with our Don't Argue, let's take a quick ad break from our sponsor, Bet with Joel. YouTube listeners, we're still here.
Can you turn your phone off vibrate?
Oh, I know, I'm doing it now. Sorry. I don't forget how popular I was. It's a pain in the ass being popular sometimes.
We're not going to speak about the messages on live stream.
No, we won't.
No incriminating things here.
What are you talking about, mate?
Anyway, let's get back into it.
There's no incriminating things going on. What are you trying to say, huh?
Let's get back into it.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome back. Now, let's get straight back into the Weekend Podcast with our Don't Argue segment. Tonight, there's a big game on.
Massive.
Your Demons. The Cats. I was going to say my Cats, but I don't know why I was saying that. Cats actually...
Do not take ownership of the Cats.
They're actually probably my second favourite team, if I'm honest. Well, they're sponsored by Ford, and I like them. No one likes them. They're probably my second favourite team.
I have to be my least favourite team.
That's why they're second. So we thought it makes sense to go head-to-head on who's going to win tonight. Odds are pretty much the evens.
Yep.
It's the game of the round. 1 versus 2. You can't get any better than that.
Game of the season.
Yeah, very well could be. Well, this is, like you said, this is probably the minor premiership on the line.
Yeah. I truly think this could be a grand final preview as well.
Yeah. Or a prelim at the minimum.
Yeah, exactly right. I think these are the 2 best sides in the competition. And whoever wins out of this is really going to have a great shot at the minor premiership.
100%. Now, no surprises here. Dogger will be taking the side of the Demons. We pondered about switching, but Dogger couldn't bring himself to do it. And I'll be going with my Cats.
On behalf of Joel Taylor.
On behalf of Joel Taylor. Actually, I'm going to start because you take far too long. So
yeah, fair enough.
At least the listeners will stick around because I won't take 2 hours. All right, the Cats. How's this for an interesting stat? They've won the last 7 times against the reigning premiers in Geelong. They've won all 7. So they know how to beat the big teams, the reigning premiers, on their home deck. But one thing above all, even though reigning premiers, it's an amazing stat. But they just beat everyone on their home deck. I don't know what their record is, but I'm going to assume it's about 50 and probably 5 over the last 20-odd years. We have along 10, I don't know how many times they play there a year. They do not lose at GMHBA. Let's not overcomplicate this. They play the ground better than anyone. No one plays there ever. So they know the ins and outs of a really funny shaped oval. It's a stupid oval. It's disgusting oval. And they shouldn't play there more than twice a year. But they know it inside out. Something that Melbourne don't at all. And this game here in Geelong, season on the line, top 2 on the line. This is huge implications. There's someone, they've got a special someone who's been a little bit under the radar this year, been a bit in and out of the team, a bit injured, and that's Patrick Dangerfield. On his day, he is the best player in the AFL. This is the type of game where he takes over and dominates. Dry deck tonight there. He's going to be able to use his speed. We think he's finally back to some full bill of health of some sorts anyway. This is the night where Danger Show puts on an absolute show and puts Melbourne to the clinic. And there's one thing I really like about Geelong tonight as well. Tomahawk's going to have his hands full with an All-Australian defence, and so will Jezza. You've got May and Lever. That's very, very hard to beat. But Gary Rowan, he's that third mid-sized forward who's kind of been forgotten for Geelong. Had a bit of a mess season. But on his night, he's 6 goals a game and he can win you a game 100%. On his night, he's a star. He is as fast as it gets. He's a great set shot. When he's on, he's seriously on. He's going to be the wild card tonight along with the Danger Show. And that's going to propel the Cats on to an easy victory against Melbourne. 15 points, easy victory.
Wow.
There you go.
Very interesting. Gary Rowan, 6 goal a game player on his day.
When he's on, he's seriously on. Like seriously, he's very hard to stop when he's on.
He's a bit like Ben Bronk, if you will. When he's on, he's kicking 7 goals.
No.
He's
shown over a long time, Gary Rowan, that he can. Is his pressure, the frees he draws, the speed he brings to the game. His marking ability is actually underrated as well.
Yeah.
As a third option, he's with Stengel in the team too. He gets even less attention probably.
Yeah.
So
absolutely loves the physios as well.
He'll kick 2 goals at $4. Bank it.
But anyway, on to why I think the Demons are going to win this one. Obvious reasons, biased Demons fan. I'm obviously going to tip the Demons every week in, week out for the last probably like 7 years of doing tipping. I tip them every week.
Is that why you get to win a tipping competition?
Last year,
actually. That's right, because I won every game pretty much.
Anyway, so tonight we're easily going to take out the dub because the most important player in the AFL and obviously the most important player for Geelong is out, and that's Tom Stewart. So Tom Stewart, very bad timing for this suspension. He's got the Demons this week, obviously, and then Carlton in a couple of weeks' time. So 2 very, very important games for that minor premiership, and he's not going to be in for them, and I think that's Geelong's biggest weakness at the moment. Yeah. They've got a very, very inexperienced backline, and I think we're going to take advantage of that. And it's going to be a good way for our forwards to get in some form. But to be honest, I think it's just going to be a defensive slog, be a very low-scoring game, quite tightly contested. And we're the best contested team in the competition when it comes down to it in the nitty-gritty. We've got a fantastic midfield. I think in the midfield, we're just going to absolutely storm them. They're not going to know what's hit them. And also, interesting stat for you as well, Cam. Don't know if you know this one, but in the last 13 games after a team has beat North Melbourne, they are 0-13.
Wow.
0-13 after beating North Melbourne.
Wow.
The last 13 games.
That's a crazy stat.
It is the most ridiculous stat. And who beat North Melbourne last week? Cam, remind me.
The Cats.
The Cats. Exactly right. What happened last year when we played them? How many times we played them? We played them 3 times. How many times did we win? We won 3 times.
And one was a massacre.
And one was absolute demolition in the prelim final at Optus Stadium. But I know what you're going to say. This isn't our Optus Stadium. This is GMHBA. You can't win in the category. Last year, round 23, Max Gawn, after the siren.
Jake Lever. Cheese. That's right.
Jake Lever.
That's right.
Sets him up.
That's cheese.
Right in front of goal for the minor premiership. And you know what we're going to do this year? We're going to win for the minor premiership. Once again, lock it in. Demons win. And danger to have a big game. But you know what? Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Can I give you one Melbourne argument that I'm going to back you up with?
Yeah.
Clayton Oliver, 3 votes, maybe 40 plus.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah, seriously, I think so. He's a lot for the Brownlow.
Although Tom Atkins will probably tag him.
And when there's Tom Atkins, eat my ass. I'm Clayton Oliver. I'm the best player in the AFL.
Tom Atkins pretty elite.
Oh, he's a very nice player, but I'm literally Clayton Oliver.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think Max Gawn, couple of cheeky goals today as well. I think with the syndesmosis injury, he only spent 24 days on the sidelines, and he's going to come back probably not fully healthy on that ankle.
Have to take it easy, don't you?
Going to play forward. Dogger Jackson's going to be in the ruck mainly.
Yeah.
And I think Dogger Jackson's actually the perfect ruck to play against that sort of Reece Stanley and Blitzarves combo. So.
Oh, yeah, very good point. Gawn might just play either deep defence or forward, 100%.
I think he will. So, and it's going to be really awesome to see him do that as well, because I do love when he goes to those key positions and really takes over.
Maybe I won't trade Dogger Jackson out of my fantasy. All right, let's get on to our hot wings. I'll go first. You know, I'm a perennial Blues basher, not a bagger.
Blues bagger.
Basher. Yeah, bagger. Technically, I'm a basher. I fucking
baggers.
hate the Blues, and they're useless. I can't say anything about them. You're a first-round exit if you fucking...
That's not what you said last year when you called them top 4.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm still pity about them. That's why... It's all about last year. If you do make finals, you're a first-round exit, but you're not even going to make finals. So anyway... You're going to lose to the Eagles. You're going to fly over to Optus. You're going to fly over there, and you're going to play the worst team of the year, bar North Melbourne. And they're actually going to put you to the sword. That's the embarrassing part. I've got a bad feeling about, you might get Wiedering back. I think it's rumoured, not confirmed. We'll find out in the next half an hour or so. But I'm so scared about whether he comes back or Durden comes back, if they're going to even be match fit. And you've got Josh Kennedy out there with a Jack Darling. And, hey... These two are really bloody good. They've been out this year.
They've been firing lately.
They are ace. They have been probably the best 2 key forward tandem of the last 5 years. They are definitely up there. They've won a flag together. Tim Kelly played the game of his life last week. This West Coast team has finally got some pieces back together. Yep. This isn't the West Coast from 8 weeks ago. That team will lose by 100 points. This is a new West Coast. This is a statement win for them to beat the Blues, and Blues love blowing up shit that they shouldn't blow up. Whenever everything's going well for them, they'll find a way to fuck it. So, West Coast at $4. Actually, I think it's $3, which is under, to be fair.
$3.60,
I think that's it should be more than that, but West Coast will win. Beat the Blues at home.
The last time you called a West Coast team to win at about $4 odds as a big underdog on a hot wing was Freo when they beat the Demons. So, pretty good record with it.
Yes, I did call for it. Yes.
I don't know how you didn't remember that.
Yes.
So that was a good hot wing there, and this might be just as good. But to be honest, I think Carlton are going to lose. Going to win 40 plus. Going to be a big statement win. They're going to need it if they're going to make top 4. So I think
they need it. They do need it more.
They
clearly.
do need it.
Need it
obviously. But well, just look at last week. A team that's not even as good as Carlton, in my opinion, in Richmond beat West Coast by 30 points when Tim Kelly had the game of his life. So.
But this back at Optus, mate. The fortress.
Doesn't matter. He's not going to do that again. Anyway, onto my hot wing. It sort of goes on to what I was calling at the start of the year and I've called throughout the year. That's Sydney to miss the finals.
Yeah.
And that's going to start this week when the Bulldogs come back and beat them.
$2.60 currently, I believe.
Yeah, $2.60. 8-point underdogs, which I don't mind at all. I might be getting around that.
Love it.
I think they're going to really struggle this week, Sydney. As we know, not very good at the SCG, weirdly enough. And I think every time they come against a real contested hard side like the Bulldogs, they do really struggle because their midfield doesn't bat very deep. They've only got you got Luke Parker and you got Callum Mills, who's disappeared the last couple of weeks, just quietly since we called him for Brownlow. And then you don't really have many contested balls after that.
They're weak.
They are very weak. As you saw last week, the bloody Essendon, who have no backbone, absolutely tore them up in the last half. And I think much the same is going to happen this week as well with a Western Bulldogs team who's like almost a better version of Essendon. They have that one key forward, no other key players whatsoever,
no big
no key backs or anything like that. Don't really have a big body mid or anything. Well, obviously, Marcus Bontempelli's in there as well. But just a better version of Essendon, and I think they're going to run them off the ground and win. And I think they're going to resort to probably putting Isaac Heaney in the midfield because that's how shallow they are right now in there. And he's going to get around the ball a little bit more. 20 disposals, he's paying $4.75.
Like that.
Don't mind that. Or 15, he's paying about $1.80. Yeah. So
really
it's pretty good money there. But regardless, I do think the Dogs are going to win, and it's going to start the fall from grace for the Swans. And I think the Bulldogs should really easily push into the finals, in my opinion.
Bulldogs are they're the Ferrari version of Essendon, and they have a do or die game.
That is a do or die game. Season on the line.
They lose this, it's done. Sydney are a team they could swap with.
Yeah, exactly right. Huge. As we saw with Port Adelaide last week, do or die game. Who shows up? Not Port Adelaide. But I think the Dogs are going to do it the absolute opposite. So that's my hot wing for this week.
When?
You're going to have to edit that one down a fair bit, Cam, as you know I went on a rant. So
when did we talk? When did Port come into this?
Anyway, thanks very much for listening. Thanks to our sponsors, Bet with Joel.
Thank you very much. And Brown Bats, our OG. Thank you.
As well. Been there since the start, which has been fantastic. Got a huge few episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks.
We do.
We're going to get into our NFL previews.
We love the NFL.
Love the NFL. Derek Carr MVP, early call, $41.
Kirk Cousins MVP.
Absolutely no chance. But no, make sure to follow us on Instagram.
At Winger Podcast.
Listen to us on YouTube.
At Winger Podcast.
This will be live right now for you as well.
You're watching right now.
And also make sure to follow us on TikTok.
At Winger Podcast.
We've got a few big TikTok videos coming up soon as well, so keep an eye on that one. And make sure to have a listen to us on Spotify.
At Winger Podcast.
Thank you very much.
Good night. You don't have to say anymore when I say good night, do you? I just stole it off you. Sorry, mate.
I know. It was so good, wasn't it?
Good night.